Welcome back to Mailbox Corner, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of mail, packages, and everything in between. I'm your host, Jake, and with me is the ever-curious Emily. How are you doing today, Emily?
I'm doing great, Jake. Excited as always to unravel another mystery of the postal world. What's on our agenda today?
Today, we're tackling a topic that I'm sure many of our listeners can relate to. That moment when you're tracking an international package heading to Canada, and you see the status, international item has left originating country and is en route to Canada. It's a common status, but what does it really mean? And why do packages sometimes seem to get stuck on this status?
That's a great question, Jake. I've seen that status myself a few times and always wondered about it. So, what does it actually mean when we see this status?
Well, Emily, this status essentially means that a plane carrying your package has left the country of origin and is now on its way to Canada. It sounds straightforward, but there's a lot happening behind the scenes that can affect when and how your package arrives.
Interesting. So, the package is literally in the air, flying towards us. But I guess the journey doesn't always go as smoothly as we'd hope, right?
Exactly. And that's what we're going to explore further in today's episode. We'll look into the reasons why packages might get stuck on this status and what you can do if you find yourself in that situation.
I can't wait to dive deeper into this topic. It sounds like there's a lot to unpack here. No pun intended.
Let's start with the reasons why a package might seem to be stuck on this international item has left originating country and is en route to Canada status. One of the main reasons is backlogs.
Backlogs? You mean like a traffic jam, but for packages?
Exactly, Emily. Just like roads can get congested during peak times, postal systems can experience a similar situation. This often happens during busy shopping seasons like Black Friday, Christmas, or the New Year holidays.
So it's not that the package isn't moving, it's just waiting its turn to be processed and presented to customs for review. That sounds frustrating, especially if you're eagerly waiting for something important.
Right? And those delays can have a domino effect, especially if customs decides to inspect your package further instead of just doing a simple X-ray. Another reason could be inclement weather conditions.
Weather? How does that affect packages that are supposedly already on their way here?
Well, even if a package has left its country of origin, bad weather in Canada can delay its progress. For the safety of the package and the staff, they might have to wait until the weather clears before any new scans can be made.
I see. So it's not just about the journey from one country to another. Conditions at the destination play a huge role too. What about misscanning? You mentioned that earlier.
Misscanning is another issue. Sometimes a package might be loaded onto a plane, and Canada Post will update the status to International Item has left originating country and is en route to Canada. However, if it takes longer for more packages to be loaded onto that plane, the status won't change until the plane actually arrives in Canada.
That must be confusing for people tracking their packages. They think it's already on its way, but in reality, it's still waiting for takeoff.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of missed scans. Sometimes, even after a package lands in Canada, Canada Post might miss some scans. This is often done to save time, but it leaves recipients anxious, not knowing if their package was seized or where it currently is.
That sounds incredibly stressful. But what can someone do if their package is stuck on this status?
Great question, Emily. If you find yourself in this situation, one of the first things you can do is retrack the package using third-party tracking sites like ParcelSap or 17Track. These sites can sometimes provide more detailed information about your package's whereabouts.
That's a good tip. It's like getting a second opinion on where your package might be. What if retracking doesn't help?
If retracking doesn't provide any clarity, the next step would be to contact the sender. If the package is still in the sender's country or it's past the estimated delivery date, they should be able to offer a solution, whether it's sending a replacement item or offering a refund.
It's reassuring to know there are steps you can take. I'm sure our listeners who might be experiencing this will find this information incredibly helpful. What else should our listeners keep in mind, Jake?